Hey friends, this is Derrick Broze of the Conscious Resistance Network, and today we're going to continue our conversation about the Event 201 exercise and how much of this exercise is actually coming true. And I posted something yesterday on YouTube and Facebook actually about a response to Event 201 that we're going to get to in just a moment. But first, let me remind you guys to bookmark theconsciousresistance.com, which is a home for all of our content where you can find all of my videos, my articles, my essays, documentaries, books that you can download for free, podcasts, etc. And you can follow us on our alternative social media channels right over here and get all set up there and follow us everywhere so you don't have to rely on Facebook, YouTube, etc. I definitely recommend signing up for our text list right here in this little blue cloud. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. You've heard me cover Event 201 now for at least 2 months. Since February, early February, I was discussing this, as others were, bringing this to the table that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Johnson & Johnson, the World Economic Foundation, the CDC, and others were involved in this pandemic simulation exercise that simulated a coronavirus pandemic sweeping around the world and killing 65 million people and lasting about 18 months. We talked about this the other day with Bill Gates and how he lied about this. Right there you can see he says, we didn't simulate this, we didn't practice. I also talked about how Event 201 is unfolding, how the Center for Health and Security recently announced the COVID-19 action platform, which sounds a lot like global government. Then going back, I talked about Event 201, censorship, quarantines, and vaccines, etc. So if you haven't seen those videos, please do, because I'm not going to rehash what we already know about Event 201. But we can go here to the Center for Health Security website, Event 201, Public-Private Cooperation for Pandemic Preparedness and Response. And this is them basically talking about why Event 201 needed to happen. And you can see here the Event 201 pandemic exercise conducted on October 18, 2019 vividly demonstrated a number of the important gaps in pandemic preparedness, as well as some of the elements of the solutions between the public and private sectors. The Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, World Economic Forum, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation jointly proposed the following. And these are some of the steps they proposed. Industry, national governments, international organizations should work together. And, we can look through this. But I'm going to just do a little quick keyword search of the word flood. And here we go. Governments and private sectors should assign a greater priority to developing methods to combat mis- and disinformation prior to the next pandemic response. So they're saying they should be doing this prior. This is October 18th. And here we are during the pandemic, and you're seeing a lot of censoring of information on the internet. Some of it is garbage information. That doesn't mean I agree that it should be censored, but that's what they said needed to happen. And coincidentally, we are seeing it happen. And let's read on here. It says, governments will need to partner with traditional and social media companies to research and develop nimble approaches to countering misinformation. This will require developing the ability to flood media with fast, accurate, and consistent information. Public health authorities should work with private employers and trust community leaders, such as faith leaders, to promulgate factual information to employees and citizens. Trusted, influential private sector employees should create the capacity to readily and reliably augment public messaging, manage rumors and misinformation, and amplify credible information to support emergency public communications. It says they should work in close collaboration with the World Health Organization to create capability to develop and release consistent health messages. For their part, media companies should commit to ensuring that authoritative messages are prioritized and that false messages are suppressed, including through the use of technology. Now, this is kind of a summary of the results, and if you actually watch the Event 201 videos, which you can find on the Center for Health Security YouTube channel, or they're maybe even listed here at centerforhealthsecurity.org, you can watch all the videos. I know Jason Burmis did a whole watch party and actually went through there. And as I've said before, one of the things that they discussed is that misinformation and disinformation starts spreading, and so they need to combat that information. People are saying the United Nations might have released this weapon to control the population. And so they discuss censoring social media, which we're seeing happen. They discuss shutting down the internet, which we haven't seen happen yet. They discuss arresting people, which we've seen people be arrested for some things, but I don't know if it's been arrested, at least not in the United States, for just straight up asking questions or posting information that may be wrong or could be speculative. But they also discussed another strategy, which they called the flood. And the flood was, as they just outlined here, an effort to flood the people, the public, with quote, credible information from the CDC and the WHO and other, authoritative sources, and I'm using air quotes, so please don't comment, say, you think the CDC is credible? No, but that's the image that they maintain to the public. I also have said in the past that I speculated with this flow of all this information about 5G and coronavirus and other half-baked theories that are floating around right now and confusing the hell out of people, that I think part of the flood strategy was also to flood the people with bad information and with disinfo and with fake conspiracy theories to get people confused. That's why I did the COVID-19 conspiracy whiteboard, just to show how crazy it's getting. So then I went over here to Reddit because I was searching for Event 201 and the flood, and somebody posted this 2 months ago. What I learned from Event 201 about misinformation management. So right here they say, at first they strongly encourage social media such as Facebook to aggressively remove fake news or fear-mongering. An example would be banning Zero Hedge. At 752 they talk about treating social media more like a broadcaster and then a technology discussion platform, meaning they could be responsible for what they broadcast and potentially penalized for spreading lies. Later on, when a guy is asked whether individuals should receive legal penalty for spreading fake news, he dodges hard. Whenever hysteria on social media gets bad enough, they do limited internet shutdowns like Iran during protests because of, quote, misinformation being spread. They eventually decide this was a bad strategy. Censoring so aggressively and shutting off the internet inflames panic and brings out thoughts of a cover-up even more. They switch to the flood strategy. Instead of shutting down social media discussion, they astroturf hard. They have shills spam positive and factual information and have social media grant them special privileges to give them an advantage to broadcast their message. An example of this would be Reddit admins handing over the coronavirus thread and the China flu thread and the epidemic thread to the authoritative sources. The shills overwhelm the fake news by sheer number with facts, making it harder for people to run into misinformation. The second part of this flood strategy is to disempower those who are, quote, fear-mongering. Banning them just proves the truth of a cover-up. Instead, they use algorithms against them. They make it harder to run into them accidentally by messing with Google searches and make them harder to find on social media. They also data mine and carefully watch the people who are fear-mongering to gather demographic data and such to better target them, ostracize them, and hide them from everyone else. An example would be the Reddit quarantine. If they straight banned us, there would be serious panic and people would flee elsewhere to talk about beyond the reach of large corporations. They seek to divide and isolate the, quote, fearmongers instead to weaken their reach while still keeping them close enough to control. And then they talk about using people's trust in certain high-profile people and institutions to spread the facts. They mentioned that people have large trust in CEOs and their bosses, and it is better to disseminate information from top down by having governments target the CEOs of corporations and heads of religious groups and celebrities instead of the common man with fact campaigns, letting them disseminate it to their followers. And this person goes on to describe their viewpoint on that. But I think that's what we're seeing here. We are seeing the flood strategy, and I've been speculating about this. So I just wanted to remind you guys that this is what I think is happening with Event 201. We're getting flooded with bad information, information from quote-unquote credible sources. And they talked about this in Event 201. They have it on their own website describing it here in Event 201. This user on Reddit did a great job describing it. And then, 2 days ago, this video was released from the United Nations Chief, Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, video message on COVID-19 and misinformation. And just listen to what he says here. It's about 1:52. Just listen to this.
As the world fights the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, the most challenging crisis we have faced since the Second World War, we are also seeing another epidemic, a dangerous epidemic of misinformation. Around the world, people are scared, they want to know what to do and where to turn for advice. This is a time for science and solidarity. Yet the global misinfodemic is spreading. Harmful health advice and snake oil solutions are proliferating. Falsehoods are filling the airwaves. Wild conspiracy theories are infecting the internet. Hatred is going viral, stigmatizing and vilifying people and groups. The world must unite against this disease too. And the vaccine is trust. First, trust in science. And I salute the journalists and others fact-checking the mountain of misleading stories and social media posts. Social media companies must do more to root out hate and harmful assertions about COVID-19. Second, trust in institutions, grounded in responsive, responsible, evidence-based governance and leadership. and trust in each other. Mutual respect and upholding human rights must be our compass in navigating this crisis. Together, let's reject the lies and nonsense out there. Today, I'm announcing a new United Nations Communications Response Initiative to flood the internet with facts and science while countering the growing scourge of misinformation, a poison that is putting even more lives at risk. With common cause for common sense and facts, we can defeat COVID-19 and build a healthier, more equitable, just and resilient world. Thank you. To flood the internet with facts and science while countering the growing scourge of misinformation. To flood the internet with facts and science while countering the growing scourge of misinformation. To flood the internet with facts and science while countering the growing scourge of misinformation.
So there you have it, guys. The head of the United Nations, UN Chief Secretary General, announcing 2 days ago that they're going to flood the internet with common sense and facts from the official sources. And you can see, though, interestingly enough, by the comments, this video hasn't been viewed a lot, so I'm going to put this in the link below and you guys can go comment. Event 201, the flood the zone, was mentioned 8 times. Listen to what this monster said. They lost in America. People are saying, when you deceive the people, you deceive yourself. It's too late. We're on to your lies. Globalist psychos need to drop dead. I mean, people are waking up to this, but it's interesting to see this, that now they're coming out admitting that they are in the flood strategy. So please share this out far and wide. And another kind of key piece of information here, I recognize this guy's face. I was like, where do I know this guy from? He's actually featured in my documentary in one of the clips where he is being questioned at the United Nations about 5G and about Wi-Fi and the dangers, and he claims he has no idea. He's like, oh, you know, if that means putting my family at risk, and he just kind of plays dumb. But here he is, reading from the script. It's obvious he's reading the script. This guy could be completely innocent. Maybe he's got a gun to his head. Maybe he's a part of the plan. I don't know. But the point is, he's putting the message out there that it's time to flood the internet with common sense and facts to counter disinformation, which is exactly what they talk about in Event 201, as they admit right here in on the centerforhealthsecurity.org website. And so we've been covering this about Event 201, Bill Gates lying about it, the Event 201 COVID-19 action platform, and the blowback from Event 201 and what's happening. So please, guys, if you haven't got the picture yet, we are being flooded with misinformation, disinformation, and it's important for us to be critical thinkers more than ever. Don't just blindly accept everything that you see, because not only are they trying to get you to look at what the CDC says and the WHO says and trust the quote-unquote authoritative sources, but I do believe that there is an effort to put bad information in front of you to confuse you further. It's more important than ever to be a critical thinker. Thank you guys for listening to my channel. I appreciate all the positive comments and even the hate, the people who don't understand my mission or who think I'm some new ager. It's always so funny. You know, the traditions that I follow, meditation, native traditions, we've been around longer than Christianity and all the rest of you. Just saying. But I don't have any problem with any of you. I want to work together with you. But I also don't hold my tongue. And I think that's why people enjoy the show and the work here, because we spit it straight. And I'm going to continue to spit it straight. And I'm going to continue to call out the bullshitters. I'm working on a video next that is going to be calling out all of the QAnon shows, the people who've been pushing that narrative for so long and are now starting to back off of it and say that, oh, I think we might have been played. So I wanted to share some other information related to Event 201 that's actually a bit of exciting news. And I shared this yesterday on my social media. Many of you have heard of Event 201, which we just went over. Well, in response to Event 201, which you could call a coincidental simulation, a ritual, which is more what I think, or preparation, depending on your view, a number of activists are organizing Event 202, which is a propaganda opposition exercise. As with Event 201, panelists will be presented with scenarios for the world and will respond to them in real time. It's going to be a 3-hour event. Unlike Event 201, Event 202 will focus on solutions for how humanity can move forward and overcome the increasingly tyrannical response from governments. This is going to be broadcast via Zoom on many channels on April 30th. There's supposed to be a website and more details to come. And there's a bunch of different panelists in here, and I want to say I don't necessarily agree with many of the people. Most of them I don't even know who they are, but I'm sure there's some that I don't agree with, and that'll probably say things in this exercise that I don't agree with. But overall, I agree with the intention to manifest a positive response. So the list is right there, and again, you can see this. Again, you can see this on our YouTube channel and Facebook, etc. So check that out. But just wanted to share that. Lots of exciting things are coming, guys, and it's time for us to focus on building, creating, and getting out of this matrix of lies, because Event 201, Contagion Crimson, and lockdown from the Rockefellers are unfolding all around us, and the only way we're going to survive is to come together and build a better world ASAP. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.